The question hit like a freight train. You know what's amazing about AOC? Donald Trump stood center stage in CBS Studio 57. Prime time 8:00 p.m. Eastern. 400 people packed into a space meant for 300. Hot tents. Half the audience wearing MAGA hats. Other half wearing AOC merchandise. All of them ready for blood. Cameras everywhere. 10 million Americans watching at home, maybe more. Social media streaming live. Margaret Brennan sitting between Trump and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, trying to look like she had control of this situation. She didn't. Trump leaned forward. That New York businessman energy, aggressive, direct. The kind of presence that fills a room whether you like it or not. She shows up here in a designer outfit that costs more than most people in Queens make in a month, and she wants to lecture me about helping the working class. He paused, let it hang there. 5 seconds, 10, the audience stirring, murmuring, building. That's rich. Actually, no, she's rich. That's the point. Let's talk about that. AOC shifted in her seat, still confident, still composed. That expression she wore when she thought she was the smartest person in the room, the one that said, "I've dealt with worse than you." Trump's eyes never left her. Folks, what you're about to hear is something special. 5 rounds, 5 examples of the biggest hypocrite in Congress. And believe me, that's saying something. We're going to talk about her fancy parties, her luxury lifestyle, the jobs she killed, the people she hurt, all of it, everything. The studio audience leaned forward collectively. This was it. This was what they came for. The confrontation everyone had been waiting for. Trump versus AOC, Queens versus Queens, billionaire versus socialist, reality versus fantasy. Margaret tried to interject. "Mr. Trump, if we could just—" Trump raised one hand. Not rude, just a hand. "Not now. We're going to start with the dress, the famous dress, the $35,000 dress. While working, people couldn't afford groceries. But first, he turned to the camera. Direct address. If you've been waiting for someone to finally call out AOC for her hypocrisy, hit that like button right now. Share this. Trust me, you're going to want your friends to see this because what I'm about to show you, nobody's ever seen anything like it. Nobody." He sat back, got comfortable, smiled that Trump smile. The one that comes right before something terrible happens to someone who probably deserves it. Let's go. Trump didn't waste time. No slow build, just attack. That's how he operated. So, picture this. He gestured broadly, painting the scene. And this is real, folks. You can't make this up. The Met Gala. You know what that is? Fancy party. Very fancy in New York for rich people. To celebrate being rich. Tickets cost $35,000 per person. 35,000. That's more than a lot of people make in a year. AOC's jaw tightened just slightly, but enough. Trump saw it. The cameras caught it. And AOC shows up wearing a dress. Custom-made, beautiful dress. Actually, I'll give her that. That says, "Tax the rich" on the back. Tax the rich. He drew out each word. At a party full of rich people who paid $35,000 to be there, including her. The irony is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Someone in the audience laughed. Nervous laugh. Others joined, the sound spreading. Actually, Trump's timing was perfect. You'd need one of those fancy knives they use at the Met Gala. Regular knives aren't good enough for the socialist socialite. The nickname landed, stuck. You could see it. AOC's face reddened slightly. Her hands moved from resting on the armrests to gripping them. white knuckles. Trump stood up, started pacing, energy building. This was his element. Live audience, cameras rolling, an opponent who couldn't leave. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you. While AOC was at that party wearing that dress, drinking champagne with celebrities and millionaires and billionaires, there were people watching. Regular people, working people. People who'd sent her money, believing she'd fight for them. He stopped pacing, turned to face the audience, scanned the crowd. How many people here donated to AOC's campaign? Raise your hands. Come on, don't be shy. Raise them. Slowly, hands started going up. 1 pound. 10, 20 more scattered throughout the audience, maybe 40 hands total. Donors who'd believed, who'd sent money, who were about to learn where it went. Trump pointed at them one by one, making sure the cameras caught each face. These people? Your people, AOC, the ones you claim to represent. They sent you money, small donations, $50, $100, whatever they could afford from their paychecks, from their savings, money they needed for rent, for groceries, for their kids. And you took it. You cashed those checks. And then you went to the Met Gala. The hands stayed up. 40 people, 40 faces, 40 donors watching her. AOC couldn't look at them, eyes down, staring at her notes like they held the secrets of the universe. Let me tell you about one of them. Trump's voice changed, softer, more personal. Her name is Maria. Just Maria. One donor out of thousands. But her story, it's everyone's story. He walked into the audience. Stage rules usually didn't allow it, but nobody was stopping him. Stopped next to an elderly woman. Row 8, small, thin, wearing a simple dress, hands folded in her lap. Maria sent AOC $50. $50. Maria is 68 years old, worked her whole life as a waitress in Queens, your district, Alexandria. Maria lives on Social Security now, $2,200 a month. After rent, $800. She has $400 left for everything. Food, medicine, bills, $400. That's it. That's all she's got after 40 years of work. The studio had gone completely silent. Even the crew stopped moving. Cameras locked on Maria, on Trump standing next to her, on AOC staring at her hands. So when Maria sent you $50, it wasn't just $50. It was groceries for a week. It was medicine she needed. It was the difference between paying the electric bill on time or paying late fees. $50 was everything to Maria. He put a hand on Maria's shoulder, gentle, respectful. Maria's daughter was having a birthday, 6th birthday. Maria wanted to buy her granddaughter a present, a doll, the one she'd been asking for, 35s at Target. But Maria believed in you. AOC believed you'd fight for people like her. So Maria sent the $50 for the fight. Maria nodded, eyes glistening, not crying yet, but close. 2 months later, Maria watched TV, saw you walk into the Met Gala, saw that dress, saw you partying with the exact people you claim to oppose, and you know what Maria did. Trump looked at AOC. She still wouldn't meet his eyes. She called her daughter, and she explained why there was no birthday present that year. Why Grandma couldn't afford the doll. Because Grandma had sent her money to someone she believed in. Someone who promised to fight for working people. Someone who was too busy partying with billionaires to remember where the money came from. The studio erupted. Not applause. Rage. Pure rage. Booing started in the back, spread forward, rolled through the audience like thunder. The 40 donors, with their hands raised, still raised, were shouting, "Now! Where's our money? Give it back! Fraud! AOC's hands went to her throat. Unconscious gesture, protective. Her breathing had changed. Shallow, quick. You could see her chest rising and falling. Panic breathing. Margaret tried to restore order, banged her papers on the desk. If we could please. Nobody was listening. Trump let it build. Let the anger spread. Let 400 people process the same betrayal at the same time. When he finally spoke, his voice cut through the chaos like a knife through butter. $35,000 for the ticket, $35,000 for the dress, $70,000 total for one night, while Maria's granddaughter got nothing for her birthday. He walked back to center stage, stood between AOC and the cameras. You know what's amazing? That $70,000, it came from people like Maria, small donors. Your tax-deductible contributions at work. Maria's $50 times 1,400 donations. That's how you bought that dress. With their money, with their rent money, with their grocery money, with their kids' birthday present money. AOC tried to speak. Voice came out higher than normal. Faster, defensive. It was a statement. I was making a point about fashion as protest. Trump's voice dripped with sarcasm. Maria can't afford fashion. Maria can barely afford food. But you took her $50 and wore it. On your back to a party with people you claim to oppose. She tried again, voice climbing another octave. I was invited. It was an opportunity to... Oh, you were invited. Trump's eyes widened in mock amazement. How special! Maria wasn't invited. Maria was working at a diner serving people like you. People who can afford $35,000 tickets while you were wearing her granddaughter's birthday present. AOC's face had gone from red to pale, color draining. She looked to her left, to her right, looking for help, for an exit, for anyone who could make this stop. Nobody came. Maria stood up slowly, using the seat in front of her for balance. Trump offered his hand. She took it, steadied herself. The cameras found her immediately, every lens in the studio focused, close up. This 68-year-old woman from Queens who'd sent $50 and got nothing but a broken promise. When Maria spoke, her voice was small, quiet, but every microphone in the studio caught it, carried it to 10 million homes. I trusted you. 4 words, that's all. 4 words in a voice that shook with emotion, with betrayal, with the kind of disappointment that comes from believing in someone and learning they never believed in you. I trusted you. I watched your speeches. I believed you cared about people like me. I sent you money I didn't have because I thought you'd use it to help. And you went to a party. She couldn't finish, sat down hard. Someone next to her, another elderly woman friend maybe, put an arm around her shoulders. The studio didn't erupt this time. It collapsed into something heavier than anger, into grief, into the realization that someone they'd trusted had betrayed them in the most fundamental way possible, taking their money and using it for luxury while they struggled. Trump stood there, silent, letting it breathe, letting everyone feel it. The weight of what had just been said, the implications, the truth. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter, harder. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, under these lights, in front of these cameras, in front of Maria, and everyone who donated to you. Simple question. Did you or did you not attend the Met Gala while working families in your district struggled to pay rent? AOC's voice, when it came, was barely above a whisper. The tickets were... It was for the museum. Yes or no? Silence. 5 seconds. 10 to 15 to 20. Yes. Did your dress cost more than most people in Queens make in a month? I didn't pay for... Yes or no? Yes. Did you use campaign donations, money from people like Maria, to fund your political operation while spending $70,000 on one night? Her lawyer would have told her to stop answering, but she wasn't thinking about lawyers anymore. She was thinking about Maria, about the 40 donors with their hands still raised, about 10 million people watching her admit the truth. Yes! Trump turned to the cameras, to America, to everyone watching. That's one scandal, folks. One example of the socialist socialite taking your money to party with the rich while you can't afford groceries. But wait, there's more. Oh, there is so much more. He opened a folder on his podium. Thick folder. New evidence. New horrors. Let's talk about what she drives, what she lives in, how she spends, while she lectures you about capitalism being evil, while she tells working people that they're oppressed, while she preaches about income inequality from her luxury apartment. AOC's hands were shaking now, visibly shaking, trembling. The cameras caught it, zoomed in, broadcast it to millions. Trump smiled. That dangerous smile, the one that says, "I'm just getting started." That's round one. The dress. Maria's $50. Your donations funding her lifestyle. If you're one of those donors, if that was your money she spent, share this. Let everyone see what their contributions bought, because it wasn't fighting for workers. It was fighting for her image. Keep watching. Trust me, it gets so much worse. The audience roared approval. Half of them standing now applauding, chanting, "Trump! Trump! Trump!" The other half, AOC's supporters, sat silent, uncertain, starting to doubt. Margaret tried to call for a commercial break. Nobody was listening. Trump just kept going. Trump was pacing again, building energy, momentum like a shark that had tasted blood and wanted more. "Let me tell you something." His voice filled the studio, not yelling, just big, overwhelming. "Let me tell you about the people in AOC's district, the people she claims to represent. Working families, real working families. Not the activists, not the socialists from Brooklyn who love her on Twitter. The actual people who live in Queens, who elected her, who believed her." He stopped pacing, turned to face AOC directly. "These people, they see you every day. You know what they see. They see what you drive. They see where you live. They see how you spend, and then they hear what you preach. Socialism, income inequality, eat the rich, abolish billionaires, tax wealth out of existence." His voice dripped with sarcasm on every word. "And meanwhile, you're living like one. Well, not quite a billionaire, but definitely millionaire lifestyle on a government salary while telling working people that capitalism is evil, that their struggles are because of greed, that the system is rigged against them." AOC tried to interrupt. "I fight for the people who clean your building." Trump's voice cut through hers like a machete. "The people who maintain your property, the people who serve you at restaurants. They drive old cars, Alexandria, 15-year-old Hondas, 20-year-old Toyotas, whatever still runs, no AC rust on the doors, but it gets them to work. 3 jobs, 4 jobs, whatever it takes to feed their families." He walked toward her, slow, deliberate. "You know what you drive?" She didn't answer, couldn't answer. "A Tesla. A $60,000 Tesla, electric car, very progressive, very environmentally friendly, very hypocritical." The audience stirred, murmuring, processings, some of AOC's supporters looking uncomfortable now, starting to see the pattern. "You know what's amazing in the real world? The one where actual working people live, $60,000 is 2 years of salary, 2 years. People work 2 full years to earn what you spent on a car. A car. While you lecture them about greed. Trump turned back to the audience, scanned the crowd. How many people here drive a car worth more than $10,000? Raise your hands. Come on. A few hands went up. Maybe 10. Out of 400 people. See that? He pointed at the sparse hands. Those are the people you represent, the 98% who drive cars worth less than 10 grand. And you're in the 2% driving a Tesla, telling them capitalism is the problem. He spun back to AOC, quick, aggressive in her face. Now, let me ask you something. How much did your Tesla cost? I needed reliable transportation for… How much? Her voice came out small, defeated. 50, around 60,000. 60,000, Trump repeated it slowly. And the people in your district, the ones who voted for you, what do they drive? She tried deflection, that academic voice she used when she thought she was smarter than everyone. This is a false equivalence. Transportation needs vary based on… No, Trump's voice was flat, final. This is called reality. You preach socialism. You tell working people they should vote to redistribute wealth, to take from the rich, to create economic equality. And you drive a car worth more than they make in 2 years, while telling them that cars are killing the planet. Unless it's your Tesla, then it's fine. The studio audience erupted again. Not just Trump supporters this time, some of AOC's people too, slowly realizing, starting to see the contradiction too obvious to ignore. AOC's breathing had gotten faster, shallower. You could hear it over her microphone. That panic breathing, the kind that happens when you know you're cornered, and there's no way out. I deserve success too. The words came out defensive, high-pitched, desperate. I worked hard. I'm allowed to. Of course you deserve success. Trump pounced, voice rising. Under capitalism, the system you want to destroy. That's the hypocrisy. He turned to the audience, arms spread wide. She wants socialism for you, capitalism for her. She wants to take your wealth and redistribute it. But her wealth, that's different. She earned that under the system she claims is evil, the system she wants to eliminate for everyone except herself. The booing started again, louder this time, rolling through the studio like a wave. Even some of AOC's supporters weren't defending her anymore, just sitting there, silent, processing the contradiction. Trump wasn't done. You live in a luxury apartment, $3,000 a month, 2-bedroom in Navy Yard. Nice neighborhood, very nice. You know what working families in Queens pay? Same amount for a studio in a dangerous neighborhood with broken elevators and leaking pipes. But they pay the same rent you do for a tenth of the space in 100 times worse conditions. He walked back to center stage, stood under the lights. You shop at Whole Foods. Post about it on Instagram. Expensive organic food. Very healthy, very progressive. People in your district shop at discount stores, dollar stores, whatever's cheapest, because that's what they can afford, while you lecture them about corporate greed. AOC's hands were gripping the armrests so hard, her knuckles had gone white, bone showing through skin. The cameras caught it close up, her face pale, sweating slightly under the studio lights. You wear designer clothes, post photos on social media, expensive outfits, fashion choices, very stylish. Working people in Queens wear whatever doesn't have holes, whatever still fits, whatever they can afford from clearance racks, while you preach about income inequality. Trump's voice dropped, got quieter, more dangerous. The difference between you and them, they're honest. They know they're struggling. They know the system is hard, But they work anyway. They try anyway. They don't blame everyone else for their problems, and they sure as hell don't pretend to be something they're not. He pointed at her. Direct, accusatory. You got elected by pretending to be one of them, the bartender from the Bronx, the working-class hero, the voice of the people. And the second you got power, you became exactly what you claimed to oppose, rich, entitled, out of touch, living in luxury while preaching about sacrifice for everyone else. AOC tried to respond. Mouth opened, closed, opened again. No words came out. Just that shallow breathing, that panic, that realization that everything she'd built, her entire brand, was being destroyed in real time on national television. In the real world, Trump continued, voice building again, you don't get to preach about income inequality while driving a $60,000 car. You don't get to attack the rich while becoming one. You don't get to lecture about privilege while living in privilege. He walked toward her one more time, stopped right in front of her chair. Unless you're AOC, unless you're the socialist socialite, unless you're a fraud who never actually believed any of it. You just used it to get elected, to get famous, to get rich, while the people who believed in you got nothing. The studio was on its feet, now 300 people standing applauding, roaring the sound physical overwhelming. AOC sat there shrinking, getting smaller. The confident activist was gone, just a politician caught in lies she couldn't explain away. Trump looked at the cameras, at America. That's 2 rounds. The Met Gala while working people starve. The Tesla while preaching socialism. Your donations funding her luxury lifestyle while she attacks the lifestyle she's living. If you drive a 20-year-old car, if you clip coupons, if you work multiple jobs while she lectures you about oppression, share this. Let everyone see the real AOC, the one who lives like the elite while attacking the elite. Unless she's the elite, then it's different. He opened another folder, thicker than the previous 2 combined. Now, let's talk about the jobs she killed, the families she destroyed, the opportunities she eliminated. 25,000 of them, all gone because AOC needed Twitter likes. AOC's face had gone beyond pale, almost gray. She looked to her staff, to anyone, begging with her eyes for someone to make this stop. Nobody could. Trump just kept going. Trump's energy shifted. Less sarcasm now, more anger, real anger. The kind that comes from seeing something genuinely destructive and wanting everyone else to see it too. Let me tell you about the dumbest thing I've ever seen in politics. His voice filled every corner of the studio. And believe me, I've seen a lot of dumb things, but this takes the cake. This is special. He picked up a paper from his podium, held it up. Amazon wanted to come to New York, to Queens, to AOC's district, build a headquarters, create jobs, real jobs, good jobs, 25,000 jobs. He let that number sit there, breathe, grow. 25,000. Think about that. 25,000 jobs. 25,000 families getting paychecks. 25,000 people getting health care. 25,000 opportunities for better lives. Trump set the paper down, started pacing again. And AOC, the socialist socialite, Sandy from the Bronx, the bartender billionaire, she said no. She killed it. She celebrated, threw a party on Twitter. We stopped Amazon like she'd won something, like she'd accomplished something, like destroying 25,000 jobs was a victory. The audience stirred. Even some AOC supporters looked uncomfortable. This was documented, public, undeniable. You know who lost? Trump's voice rose. The 25,000 people who needed those jobs, the families who applied, the single parents working retail who could have gotten careers, the young people stuck in dead-end jobs who could have gotten opportunities, the middle-aged workers downsized from other companies who could have gotten second chances. He stopped pacing, turned to face AOC directly. All of them gone because you wanted to look tough, because socialists in Brooklyn were watching, because you needed to score political points with progressives who've never struggled a day in their lives. AOC tried to mount a defense, voice shaking. Amazon refused to pay fair. $85,000. Trump's voice exploded, not yelling, just massive, overwhelming. $85,000. That's what those jobs paid. People in your district make $30,000. You just denied them a $55,000 Chula raise. For what? She stammered, tried again. We can't let corporations— Who's we? Trump cut her off, voice like a knife. You decided, not we, you. The people who needed those jobs, they weren't asked, they weren't consulted. You decided they didn't need opportunities. You decided Twitter likes were more important than their families' futures. He turned to the audience, scanned the crowd. How many people here applied for Amazon jobs or knew someone who did? Raise your hands. Slowly, hands started going up. One found. Then 20, 30, 40, 50, more scattered throughout the audience, maybe 60 total. People who'd applied, who'd hoped, who'd believed Amazon would give them a chance. The cameras panned across them, found their faces, captured their expressions: anger, betrayal, loss. Trump pointed at them, made sure AOC saw, made sure America saw. See that? Those are the people you hurt, not Amazon, not Jeff Bezos. Them. Real people from your district who voted for you, who believed you'd help them, and you killed their opportunities for tweets. One man stood up, middle-aged, Hispanic, wearing a button-down shirt, voice shaking with emotion. I applied for operations manager. $80,000. I was going to move my family out of our apartment. Better neighborhood, better schools for my kids. Others stood one by one all over the audience. I applied for tech support. Could have started a career. I applied for warehouse supervisor. Would have gotten my daughter off food stamps. I applied for customer service. First real job opportunity in 5 years. Their voices overlapped, built on each other. A chorus of lost opportunities, of destroyed hopes, of families still struggling because AOC had decided their jobs weren't important. Trump let it build. Let them speak. Let AOC hear every single one. When the voices finally died down, he spoke quietly, but every word carried. 25,000 families. Not a statistic, not a number. People. Parents who could have afforded better schools. Single mothers who could have stopped working 3 jobs. Young people who could have started careers. Immigrants. Legal immigrants who could have built better lives. He walked toward the section of audience members still standing, stood among them. And you killed it. For what? For applause from people who don't need jobs, for praise from activists who've never worried about rent, for Twitter followers who think opposing corporations makes you brave. His voice built, getting louder, filling the studio. You know what's amazing about AOC? She's never created a job. Not one. Never. Never ran a business. Never made payroll. Never worried about keeping employees working. Never struggled to meet regulations. Never built anything. But she knows better than Amazon, than Jeff Bezos, than everyone who's actually created jobs. He turned back to face her. She was crying now, openly crying, tears streaming down her face, mascara running, the confident activist completely gone. She knows you don't need those jobs. She knows your families don't need opportunities. She knows your kids don't need better schools because she doesn't need any of that. She's got hers under capitalism, the system she wants to destroy for everyone except herself. The chanting started low at first, just a few voices. Where are the jobs? Then more voices joined. Where are the jobs? Then everyone, the whole section, 60 people, all standing, all chanting. Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? AOC put her hands over her ears, trying to block it out, trying to make it stop. But it didn't stop. It got louder. The sound rolling through the studio like thunder. Trump just stood there. Let it happen. Let her hear it. Let America hear it. The sound of people whose futures she'd destroyed, asking where their opportunities went. When the chanting finally died down, took almost a full minute, Trump walked back to center stage. There will be other opportunities. That's what she said. After killing the Amazon deal, there will be other opportunities. Well, guess what? There weren't. Those 60 people are still looking, still struggling, still working jobs that pay a third of what Amazon would have paid, still living in apartments they wanted to escape, still sending kids to schools they wanted to leave. He looked directly into the nearest camera at America, at everyone watching. Because AOC decided, not them, her, and they're the ones who paid the price while she drives her Tesla and lives in her luxury apartment and preaches about fighting for workers by taking away their work. AOC was trying to say something, mouth moving, but no sound was coming out. Just that breathing, that panic, that realization of complete exposure. Trump opened another folder, even thicker. 3 rounds down, 2 to go. And folks, if you needed one of those Amazon jobs, if you know someone who did, if you're still struggling because some bartender from Queens decided Twitter likes were more important than your family's future, share this. Let everyone see what fighting for workers really means to her. Spoiler alert, it means taking away their work. He pulled out papers, photos, evidence. Now, let's talk about her grandmother, about Puerto Rico, about fake stories and real suffering, about using your own family for fundraising, about $100,000 that went somewhere. Nobody knows where, but we're going to ask, and she's going to answer or try to. AOC's face had gone beyond pale, beyond gray, almost green, sickly looking, her hands trembling so badly they were visible on camera from across the studio. Margaret tried to call another break. We should perhaps... No breaks. Trump's voice was final. She didn't give those families a break. She doesn't get one either. Let's talk about Abuela. Trump's voice changed again. The anger was still there, but different now. Colder. The kind of cold that comes from seeing something morally bankrupt and wanting everyone else to see it, too. Now, this one, he shook his head. This one crosses a line even for Congress, even for politicians, even for AOC. Using your own grandmother for political fundraising. Exploiting your family for money. That's low. Really low. He picked up a photo, held it up so the cameras could see. This is a picture AOC posted on social media. Her grandmother's house in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. Looks bad, right? Looks destroyed. Looks like someone who needs help. He set it down, picked up another photo. This is a picture journalists took. Same house, same time, different angle. House is fine. Roof is good. Walls are solid. Everything intact. Grandmother's not in crisis. She's not suffering. The house isn't destroyed. He set both photos down side by side. The contrast impossible to miss. So, what happened? Simple. AOC needed a story. Needed to look like she cared about Puerto Rico. Needed to raise money. So she exaggerated. She lied. She used her own grandmother as a prop, posted sad pictures, said the house was destroyed, said Abuela was suffering, and people sent money, over $100,000, to help. The studio had gone completely silent. Even the anti-AOC people looked uncomfortable now. This was different. This was family. This was fraud. Trump's voice got quieter, more dangerous. Except the grandmother didn't need help. The house was fine. So, where did that $100,000 go? He let the question hang there. 5 seconds, 10, 15. Nobody answered because nobody knew. Anyone? Anyone know? Because I'd love to hear this explanation. AOC tried to speak, voice barely audible. Various Puerto Rican causes. Which causes? Trump's voice exploded. Show us the receipts. Where's the accounting? Where's the transparency? You raised money for your grandmother who didn't need it. Where did it go? She couldn't answer. Sat there, silent, tears streaming faster now. Trump wasn't done. You know who did need help. Real Puerto Rican families. Real ones. People who actually lost everything in Hurricane Maria, who are still homeless 4 years later, still living in unsafe conditions, still struggling, still waiting for help that never came. He gestured broadly, encompassing everyone. Real families watched your campaign, watched you post about your grandmother, watched people send money, and they thought, finally, someone who understands. Finally, someone who will help. Finally, someone from Congress who cares about Puerto Rico. His voice dripped with disgust. Then they found out it was fake. Your grandmother was fine. The house was fine. The money went somewhere, nobody knows where. But it sure didn't go to the families who actually needed it. Trump walked to the side of the stage where audience members sat, who'd been quiet until now. He gestured to a section. How many people here are from Puerto Rico or have family affected by Hurricane Maria? Hands up. Maybe 20 hands went up scattered through the audience. Puerto Rican community members. People with connections to the island. People who knew what real hurricane damage looked like. Did any of you get help from AOC's fundraising? Anyone? Heads shaking. Universal negative. Not one person got help. Of course not. Because the money wasn't for you, it was for her. Her image, her brand, her political career. She used her grandmother, used Hurricane Maria, used your community's suffering to raise money for we still don't know what. One woman stood, Puerto Rican accent, angry. My family lost everything. Everything. House gone. Business gone. We got nothing. While she raised money off fake story. Others stood, voices rising. Our neighborhood still destroyed. 4 years later, still no real help. She used us, used our pain. Their anger was different from earlier rounds. More personal, more hurt. This wasn't about politics or economics. This was about community, about family, about using other people's tragedy for personal gain. AOC had her face in her hands now, shoulders shaking, sobbing. Not defensive tears, not political tears. Real ones, the kind that come from being exposed as something you never wanted to admit you were. Trump let the Puerto Rican voices build. Let them express their anger. Let AOC hear what using people's suffering for fundraising actually costs. When the voices finally quieted, he spoke again quietly. But every word cut. You raised over $100,000 for a grandmother who didn't need it. While real families, families in this audience, families still in Puerto Rico, families still struggling, got nothing. And when journalists caught you, when they proved the story was fake, you didn't apologize. You didn't return the money. You didn't explain where it went. He walked back to center stage. You just moved on, posted something else, found another outrage to tweet about, forgot about your grandmother, forgot about Puerto Rico, forgot about the people whose donations you took under false pretenses. AOC tried to speak, voice completely broken now, barely audible. I tried to. The situation was... Trump cut her off. Not aggressive, just final. You committed fraud. Let's call it what it is. You raised money for one thing, spent it on another, or didn't spend it at all. Nobody knows. That's fraud. In the real world, in the business world, people go to jail for that. But you're in Congress. So, you just get re-elected. Or you used to. He picked up another folder. Final one. 4 rounds. The Met Gala, the Tesla, the Amazon jobs, the grandmother fraud. One more to go. And this one's about your big plan. Your Green New Deal. The $93 trillion fantasy that would destroy millions of jobs, including businesses that have existed for generations. Family businesses, American businesses, all gone because a bartender from Queens who's never run a business decided she knows how to run the economy. AOC was completely broken now, head down, can't look at anyone, can't speak, can't defend, just sitting there, destroyed, exposed, finished. The audience was on its feet. Not all of them. Not the AOC supporters, but most standing, waiting for the final blow, the knockout punch. Trump smiled, that dangerous smile. Let's finish this. Trump's energy came back full force, almost gleeful now, like he was about to deliver the punchline to the longest joke in American political history. Okay, he clapped his hands together. Let's talk about the Green New Deal. AOC's masterpiece. Her big solution to climate change. Her plan to save America. Save the planet. Save everything. He paused for effect. 93 trillion. The way he said it, stretching it out, making every syllable count. With a T, trillion. Trillion. That's not million. Not billion. Trillion. 93 of them. That's more money than exists like in the world. More money than has ever existed in the history of money. But AOC's got a plan for it. He walked toward AOC. She wouldn't look up, just sat there, broken. She wants to eliminate oil, all of it, gone. Gas, coal, every fossil fuel banned. She wants to retrofit every building in America, every single one. Make them green, make them sustainable, whatever that means. And she wants to do it in 10 years. Trump stopped walking, laughed, genuine laugh at the absurdity. 10 years! I've built buildings. I know construction. You know how long it takes just to get permits? To file the paperwork? To deal with regulations? Years. Actual years. But AOC is going to rebuild every building in America in 10 years. Sure. The audience laughed with him, even some AOC supporters. The plan was too ridiculous not to laugh at. And it gets better. Oh, it gets so much better. You know what else she wanted to ban in the original plan? He paused for dramatic effect. Cows. Cows. I'm not making this up. Because cows produce methane, which is bad for the environment. So, the solution? Eliminate cows. Get rid of them. I don't know what we're supposed to eat or what happens to dairy, but the cows have to go. More laughter. Louder now. Even Margaret was trying not to smile. This is who you elected. Queens, a bartender who wants to eliminate cows with a $93 trillion plan that would require inventing money that doesn't exist. To solve a problem by creating worse problems. That's your congresswoman. Trump's voice shifted. Less humor now, more serious. But here's what's not funny. Here's what's actually tragic. You know who pays the price for fantasy plans? Real people, real businesses, real families who've built something over generations. He turned to the audience. How many people here own businesses or work for small businesses? Massive response. Maybe 100 hands went up. Quarter of the audience. Under AOC's Green New Deal, how many of those businesses would survive? Every hand went down. Every single one. Exactly. 0. None. Because her plan makes your equipment illegal, your processes illegal, your entire way of doing business illegal overnight. All the investment you made, worthless. All the training, useless. All the expertise you built over years, decades, generations, gone. A man stood up, older, 60-some, moist, thick with emotion. My family has an HVAC company. My grandfather started it. 60 years, 3 generations. All our equipment would be illegal. We'd have to spend $800,000 to retrofit. We don't have $800,000. We'd have to close. 20 employees, all unemployed. Trump pointed at him, made sure the cameras got him. That's the real cost of AOC's fantasy, not $93 trillion in made-up money. Real people losing real businesses. 3 generations of work gone because someone who's never run a business decided she knows how to regulate them out of existence. More people stood all over the audience. Manufacturing company, 4th generation, can't meet the requirements. Construction firm, equipment too old, would have to close. Trucking business, vehicles would be banned. 40 families unemployed. Their voices built on each other. A chorus of small businesses that would be destroyed. Family operations ended. Generations of work eliminated. All for a plan that couldn't work. That wouldn't work. That was never meant to work. Trump let them speak. Let AOC hear every single one. Let America see the real cost of socialist fantasy. When the voices died down, he turned back to AOC. You've never created a job, have you? She didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Never run a business, never made payroll, never worried about regulations, never struggled to keep employees working, never built anything. But you know exactly how to destroy everything these people built. He walked to his podium, picked up papers, held them up. You know what this is? This is your FAQ document. The one you posted with the Green New Deal. The one you deleted when people started asking questions, when economists started laughing, when business owners started panicking. Trump read from it slowly, making sure everyone heard. Quote, "We aren't sure how to pay for it." Your words. Not sure how to pay for $93 trillion. Imagine that. He flipped a page. Quote, "Implementation details are unclear." Your words. Unclear how to actually do any of it. Just that it sounds good. Another page. Quote, "Timeline may not be feasible." May not be feasible. That's your way of saying impossible. 10 years to rebuild America is impossible. But you proposed it anyway. He set the papers down. You posted this, your FAQ, your admissions. Then you deleted it because even you knew it was stupid. Even you knew it couldn't work. Even you knew it was a fantasy. But you proposed it anyway. Because it sounds good to people who don't understand economics or math or reality. Trump's voice rose, building to the climax. And you know what the worst part is. The absolute worst part. You don't care that it can't work. You don't care that it would destroy millions of jobs. You don't care that it would bankrupt America. You don't care because you never intended it to pass. You just wanted applause. He pointed at her, accusatory. Applause from environmentalists, from socialists, from progressives who've never worked a real job, from people who think destroying businesses makes you brave, from Twitter followers who don't understand that jobs matter more than likes. The audience erupted, standing ovation. Everyone, even some of AOC's former supporters. The evidence too overwhelming. The hypocrisy too obvious. The fantasy too exposed. AOC sat there, head down, completely still, not crying anymore. Beyond crying, just empty, broken, destroyed. Everything she'd built, her entire political brand, demolished in less than 2 hours on live television. Trump stood center stage under the lights, victorious. That's all 5 folks. 5 scandals, 5 lies, 5 categories of victims. The Met Gala while small donors starve. The Tesla while preaching socialism. Killing Amazon jobs. Fundraising fraud. Green New Deal fantasy that would destroy millions of businesses. He looked directly into the camera at America, at 20 million people watching. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's the socialist socialite. That's who Queen's elected. A fraud. A hypocrite. Someone who preaches one thing and lives another. Someone who takes from working people to fund her luxury lifestyle. Someone who destroys jobs while claiming to fight for workers. Someone who uses her own family for fundraising. Someone who proposes plans she knows can't work just to get applause. He paused. Let it sink in. Share this everywhere. Subscribe, comment. Tell everyone you know. Because this is what socialism really looks like. Not equality, not fairness, not helping people. This is what it really is. Elites living in luxury while preaching sacrifice to everyone else. That's AOC. That's the squad. That's the whole movement. The audience roared, chanting, "Trump! Trump! Trump!" AOC still sat there, motionless, defeated, finished. Margaret tried to wrap up. We should thank our... But nobody was listening. The damage was done. The exposure complete. The confrontation over. Trump had won. America had watched. And nobody would forget. The video went viral before the show even ended. 30 million views in the first hour. 60 million by morning. 100 million by end of week. AOC exposed, trending #1 worldwide. Socialist socialite becoming permanent nickname. Queens versus Queens capturing the entire confrontation. Every clip, every moment, every devastating exchange. Conservative media went into celebration mode. Fox News ran the footage on loop. Tucker Carlson devoted entire show to analysis. Sean Hannity called it the greatest political takedown in American history. Laura Ingraham played the Met Gala section 3 times. The audience numbers were massive, record-breaking. Liberal media tried to defend her. Couldn't. The footage was too damaging. The victims too real. The evidence too clear. CNN ran segments titled Problematic Moments, but even their talking heads struggled. MSNBC tried to focus on Trump's tone instead of AOC's actions. Didn't work. By the next day, even they'd moved on. Left her to sink alone. AOC's office stopped answering phones by midnight. Too many calls, too much anger. Voicemail full within an hour. System crashed by morning. Overwhelmed by the volume of constituents demanding explanation, demanding resignation, demanding accountability. The squad was silent. Not one tweet of support, not one statement of defense, not one appearance together. Omar posted something vague about unity without naming AOC. Tlaib retweeted environmental news. Presley went dark completely. The solidarity was fake. Always had been. Now everyone knew. Nancy Pelosi's office released one sentence. The Congresswoman speaks for herself. Translation: she's on her own. Good luck. You're going to need it. By morning, AOC had deleted Twitter app from her phone. Couldn't handle the notifications, the mockery, the shame. Thousands of tweets per minute. All brutal, all accurate, all permanent. Instagram went next. Too many comments, too many people pointing out her luxury lifestyle in every photo, every designer outfit, every expensive meal, every contradiction exposed. Her approval rating in Queens dropped overnight, 64% to 33%. A 31-point collapse in hours. The fastest political implosion in New York history. Polls showed her losing primary by 28 points. To anyone, literally anyone, who challenged her would win. The primary challenger announced at midnight. Didn't wait. Struck while the iron was hot. Not another activist, not another progressive, an actual worker, union member, electrician, born in Queens, raised in Queens, still lived in Queens, in a normal apartment, driving a normal car, living a normal life. His slogan: a real worker versus the fake socialist. His first ad: clips from the debate. AOC's Tesla versus his Ford pickup. Her luxury apartment versus his rental. Her designer clothes versus his work uniform. Her Met Gala versus his Union Hall. The contrast devastating. Fundraising exploded. $3 million in first month. All small donors. People giving $20, $50, whatever they could afford. The money that used to go to AOC now going to her opponent. Poetic justice. Early polling showed him leading by 18 points. Within 2 weeks, 22 points. By end of month, 26 points. The lead growing as more people saw the debate. As more people learned the truth. As more people realized they'd been lied to. Maria, the one donor Trump had spotlighted, became a national figure. Conservative groups raised money for her. $50,000 in a week. More than she'd make in 2 years. She bought a house. Actually, bought it. Small house in Queens. Nothing fancy, but hers paid in full. The American dream realized by people AOC claimed to represent, but never did. Maria became spokesperson for Donors Deceived movement. Appeared on every conservative show, Fox News, Newsmax, conservative podcasts. Her message consistent. I believed in her. She believed in my money never again. Her story became symbol of progressive hypocrisy. Elderly woman sacrificing for politician who used it for luxury. The contradiction too perfect. Too obvious, too viral. Working people in AOC's district organized. Real workers, not activists, not socialists. People who cleaned buildings and drove trucks and worked construction. The people she claimed to represent, but never did. They formed coalition backing the primary challenger. Voter registration up 40% in Queens. All against her. The 25,000 families affected by Amazon. They formed their own group. Jobs AOC killed. It was called blunt, accurate, devastating. They documented every person who applied, every family that needed work, every opportunity destroyed. The evidence overwhelming. Other companies announced Queens expansions, smaller than Amazon. But something, 5,000 jobs created by businesses wanting to prove they cared about Queen's workers more than AOC did. The contrast stark. Her obstruction versus others' progress. Puerto Rican community leaders called for her resignation. Formal statement, public, brutal. She exploited our suffering for personal gain. She raised money off fake story while real families got nothing. She does not represent us. She never did. Community organizing against her. Bilingual campaign, Spanish and English. Churches involved, community centers, local businesses, all turning it against her. Her name became toxic. AOC toxic, in neighborhoods that elected her. The betrayal too personal. The fraud too obvious. Small business owners across Queens organized. Business Owners Against AOC coalition formed, endorsed primary challenger en masse. Documented every regulation she proposed that would hurt them, created jobs to spite her, proving what actual job creation looked like, what actually helping workers meant. Chamber of Commerce issued formal opposition. Not just her policies, her. First time they'd ever opposed a specific candidate. But the Green New Deal threat was too real. The danger too obvious. They couldn't stay neutral anymore. Progressive organizations started distancing. Democratic Socialists of America released statement, "We support democratic socialism, not hypocrisy." Translation, "She's making us look bad. We're out." Major donors cut ties publicly with statements explaining why her fundraising collapsed from millions to thousands. Nobody wanted association. Nobody wanted the taint. Her staff quit. Mass exodus. Campaign manager resigned via Twitter, wouldn't even call her. Chief of staff gone by morning. Press secretary by afternoon. Policy director by evening. Within 72 hours, 3 people left. 3 people running her entire operation. Everyone else fled. Resumes going out, looking for any other work. Anything but association with AOC. Her office in Queens closed temporarily for renovations. The sign said, translation, "She's hiding. Can't face constituents, can't answer questions, can't defend herself." Her office in D.C. She showed up to vote, ran from cameras, no statements, no interviews, no explanations, just votes and escape. Other members avoided her in hallways, didn't want to be seen together, didn't want the association. Committee assignments under review. Democrats wanted her gone, off committees, out of leadership, away from cameras, as invisible as possible until primary ended her career. Naturally, speaking invitations canceled, all of them. Universities didn't want protests. Organizations didn't want controversy. Events didn't want boycotts. She was toxic, untouchable, radioactive. Book deal canceled. Publishers cited changing market conditions. Translation, nobody wants to read this anymore. The brand is dead. The story's over. Netflix documentary about her canceled. Creative differences, they said. Translation, this would lose money now. The narrative changed. The hero became the villain. Can't sell that. Trump victory tour. Every show, every platform, every interview talking about the debate about AOC, about socialism, about reality versus fantasy. His approval ratings climbed. 71% nationally, 89% among Republicans. Presidential speculation intensified. Exploratory committee announced. That's what happens when socialism meets reality, he said on Hannity. When fantasy meets facts. When Twitter likes meet real life. Queens taught the bartender a lesson. A Louisiana lesson. A Trump lesson. Don't lie to people about who you are because eventually someone's going to call you out on national television in front of 20 million people and then it's over. The phrase caught on. "Don't let Trump pull an AOC on you," became warning among Democrats. Every progressive terrified of similar exposure. Every socialist checking their own lifestyle for contradictions. Every activist making sure their story held up under scrutiny. AOC hadn't appeared publicly since the debate. 3 weeks, no appearances, no statements, no nothing. Just silence. The confident activist, completely gone. Just broken politician, waiting for inevitable end. Primary polling showed her losing by 32 points. Internal numbers worse. Campaign knew it. Staff knew it. She knew it. Loss inevitable. Career over. Just matter of time. She looked for exit strategy. Post-Congress career. Options limited. Nobody wanted her. Universities said no. Companies said no. Organizations said no. Even progressive groups passed. The brand too damaged. The reputation too destroyed. Rumored Netflix deal fell through. Book publishers wouldn't return calls. Speaking agents stopped answering. She was alone. Completely alone. Everything she'd built, gone, destroyed in 2 hours on live television by simple questions and obvious evidence. The socialist socialite nickname stuck permanently, used by everyone, even other progressives, even former allies. It captured everything. The hypocrisy, the fraud, the contradiction. Living like elite while preaching equality. Getting rich off capitalism while attacking capitalism. Luxury lifestyle funded by working-class donors who struggled. Her Wikipedia page updated within hours. Former U.S. representative, lost primary following televised debate, known for controversial policies and lifestyle contradictions. That was her legacy. Former, controversial, contradictions. Nothing else would be remembered. The Green New Deal forgotten. The squad disbanded. The movement fractured. All that remained was the fraud exposed. The fake revealed. The socialist socialite unmasked. Political obituaries written while she still held office. The rise and fall of AOC became common headline. Articles analyzing what went wrong, where she failed, how she lost touch. But they all missed the point. She didn't lose touch. She never had it. The bartender from the Bronx was always fake. The working-class hero was always fraud. The voice of the people was always voice of herself. It just took Trump, queens meeting queens, to expose it. Maria lived to see vindication. Got her house, got her justice, got her voice back. Spent remaining years as conservative folk hero, always telling same story, always ending same way. I gave $50 to fight for working people. It ended up buying her a Met Gala ticket instead. Best $50 I ever spent, though, because it exposed her. The people who needed Amazon jobs, some found work, others still looking, but they organized. They mobilized. They made sure next representative understood jobs matter. Opportunity matters. Twitter likes don't feed families, and politicians who forget that don't get second chances. Puerto Rican community rebuilt without her. Other representatives helped. Real aid came through. Real families got real assistance. The community remembered who actually helped versus who just fundraised off fake stories. Remembered who showed up versus who showed off. Small businesses survived despite her, in spite of her. Because that's what small businesses do. They survive, they adapt, they endure. And when Green New Deal died, which it did immediately, completely, they breathed easier, built more, hired more, proved what actual job creation looked like. Trump used the victory as launching point. Presidential campaign in full swing. The debate footage in every ad. The confrontation at every rally. The exposure at every speech. "That's what I'll do to socialism," became his message. Facts, evidence, reality. That's how you beat fantasy. It worked. Polling showed him leading every Democrat, including primary challengers, including incumbents. The debate proved he could dismantle progressive arguments, could expose hypocrisy, could connect with working people, could deliver simple message. Reality beats fantasy always. But the real victory wasn't Trump's. It was reality's. Facts beat feelings. Evidence beat narrative. Truth beat lies. Working people beat fake advocates. Queens, real queens, working people. Queens beat queens. The faker. The lesson spread beyond politics, beyond AOC, beyond one debate. It became cultural, moral, simple. You can't preach one thing and live another. You can't attack wealth while accumulating it. You can't claim to represent workers while destroying their opportunities. You can't use people's suffering for personal gain. You can't propose fantasies as solutions. You can't expect people to stay fooled forever. Eventually, someone asks simple questions. Eventually, evidence emerges. Eventually, truth matters. Eventually, reality wins. That's what happened to AOC. Simple questions, obvious evidence, clear truth. Reality defeating fantasy on national television in front of 20 million people permanently, completely. Finally, the socialist socialite learned what happens when Queens meets Queens. When working people meet someone pretending to be working people. When donors meet someone spending their donations on luxury. When reality meets fraud. Truth wins. Reality wins. Working people win. America wins. And the bartender who thought she could fake her way to power learned the hard way, you can't. Not forever. Not when someone's willing to ask simple questions. Not when evidence is clear. Not when 20 million people are watching. She got exposed, destroyed, finished. And everyone saw it happen live in real time, with no excuses, no escape, no second chances. That's justice. Real justice. The kind that happens when truth matters more than narrative. When facts matter more than feelings. When reality matters more than fantasy. AOC learned it the hard way. Queens taught her. Trump delivered the lesson. America watched and nobody forgot. The socialist socialite got schooled, and school was permanent. Folks, if watching Trump destroy AOC with simple facts gave you even half the satisfaction it gave Maria and those Amazon families and those Puerto Rican communities and those small business owners, smash that like button right now. Share this everywhere. Tweet it. Post it. Send it to every socialist you know who thinks feelings matter more than facts. Let them see what happens when reality meets fantasy. When business meets bartending, when Queens meets Queens, when someone who's actually built something confronts someone who's only destroyed things. Comment below. Should AOC resign? Should she be investigated? What should happen next? Because America's watching, working people are watching, and we're not forgetting. And subscribe, because trust me, there are plenty more where she came from. Bernie, Ilhan, the whole squad, they're all hiding the same contradictions, living the same lies, preaching the same fantasies while living different realities. This is just round one of the Trump exposure tour. We're just getting started. And after what you just watched, you know exactly how it ends. With truth, with reality, with facts, with working people getting justice, with frauds getting exposed, with socialists getting schooled. That's what we deliver every time. No exceptions, no excuses. See you in the next one. And trust me, it's going to be even better. Justice doesn't sleep. Reality doesn't stop.